This video is brought to you by Asmodee and Fantasy Welt.
What's up, Hits and Crits family? Welcome to the community contest, our third community contest, and today we're gonna reveal the winners of the Prince of Tatters, our own miniature, and we went a really long way, and I'm really happy I have my teammate here, Thomas, who organized and pulled over the whole contest for you. Great to have you, Thomas.
Great to be here.
As always. So we went a really long way with this prince, and we decided as soon as we saw the miniature, the final miniature, we felt we need a final product to your doorstep in a box with cards, with final rules and everything. So that's why we chose to throw out this community contest and let all of you participate to shape this first Hits and Crits miniature for A Song of Ice and Fire. So we threw out, you needed to provide an attachment version and an NCU version. So, and we're gonna take a look at this, but before we do, I want to show you what's a little bit happening behind the scenes, where all the patrons are involved, where they give feedback, where they decide on certain things. So what's basically happening with this miniature is we got the final version from Wolf, from Wolf Miniatures, who designed the whole thing, and we let him print from a befriended 3D printer that does an awesome job, high quality. He's really top notch from whatever I have seen in the past. So we are right now in the process of building the box art, putting the final cards on there, have an inlay in the box and stuff like that. So this is basically what we're designing. This is what you see right now is basically what the Patreon saw and where they gave feedback to. So this is not final, but this is a way we are heading with this promo box for the Prince of Tatters. This is how it looks like when it's on the table, on the team that basically cuts, bends, and does the durable test for all for the complete box. So we got mass production going for the miniature while we are still finishing the box art. So this is what we receive. Not on a daily basis, but quite often. So we get this miniature and we are testing out the inlay for the box, so it's held securely and you can pull it out and pull it in. So even if you paint it, it will be secured in the box and you can take it wherever. Because this box is it's not plastic, it's also 3D printed, so it's really durable and nothing happens to the miniature. Okay, so this is what basically happens behind the scene. We also got 3 awesome painters on board that painted the miniature, and I can show off this one by our one of our first community members, one of the first ones that joined the channel, Mitch Scribbles, who does awesome paint jobs, who has a very unique style to it, a very I don't want to say cartoon, but it's a really like art. His own
vibrant colors, right?
Very vibrant colors. It basically jumps at you when you take a look. And I have all 3 miniatures here, and I can tell you each and every one is basically outstanding the other. So they are really top notch. So we have him, and we wanted to have them painted, to put them in the box art, to put them in the inlay, to make them more feelable, so you can really feel the miniature. We will have another video coming up on this one to show you the other 2 great painters that participated. And you won't be disappointed when you see the other 2. I can promise you that. So, without further ado, that was a bigger intro, but now we come to the winners of the third Hits and Crits community contest for the Prince of Tatters. So we start with the attachment, the colorful tactician. And before I give it to Thomas, I will tell you that we got so many great ideas, lore-heavy ideas, really good rules, very well-balanced ideas, but so many, and some of this card, some on this card, some on this idea. So we went finally, and I want to spoiler that, we went with a own final version, which will be in the box. But we drew all these ideas from all of your entries and basically put together our own version of the final cards. And the main reason for this is because we want this miniature to be really played in the game. We want to see it on the table, and we want to see it in virtual and in physical games. And this is why we take a deep look on all the stuff we got and build our own miniatures, and we will show them at the end after all the prices. All right.
Yeah.
So with that out of the way, I will give it to Thomas with our first honorable mention for the attachment, which is from Heffa. Congratulations. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this honorable mention, 2 points.
Maybe one sentence from me before I get into detail on this too. I feel I say that every contest, but you really made it even harder this time again for us to even decide who should win this. And we made it hard for you too, I think, because neutral attachment, neutral NCU is not easy to design in a way that it really can be played in the game, I think, in a meaningful way. So that was a hard contest for you, and it was hard for us as well to decide who wins. And I think that led to the decision as well that we have our own version in the end, which is inspired by your submissions. And you will see it when we reveal it in the end. But now to have us submission here, I mainly put that here in honorable mentions because there are some things in this attachment that were inspiring for our attachment in the end. You will see that. Let's just go through it really quick. He has a very unique order: move unseen, start of any turn. Move this attachment to a friendly combat unit, ignoring regular attachment limits. After using this order, the ability Terrifying Tedders cannot be used anymore until the end of the game. So basically, he jumps around between different units. It's an interesting idea. I think it's a bit complicated in the game in the end to really use it in a meaningful way, and it has its problems, I think, but interesting nevertheless. Then we have the Terrifying Tedders. Enemies in short range of this unit suffer -1 to moral test rolls. That as well is a theme that we saw with a lot of the attachments and some of the NCUs too, that he's kind of
intimidating.
Like similar effects, intimidating presence and stuff like that, because he is an intimidating foe to have, I guess, on the battlefield. And then we have another very interesting ability here, the Battlefield Voice. Start of a friendly turn, target a friendly combat unit in short range of this unit, and it may move. It may do a free pivot. So pivot is not an action, but that's a very interesting ability as well, and was inspiring in the end for our attachment too, as we will see. All in all, I think it's a bit cramped, and you have the problem if you want to play a 2-point neutral attachment in a normal list, it has to be really, really, really strong, right? That somebody would do that. So this didn't come higher, I think, but nonetheless, a very nice submission.
Like, question for me: do you feel 2 points? If this would be a final card, is 2 points? 2 points is good, right? It's not like it can't be 1 point, right? 2 points is good.
Yeah, for the stuff that it brings, sure, but the problem is a bit with our extra attachment points that we have in Season 6. You can't, a neutral attachment, you have to pay the full points, right? You can't buy it from the extra attachment points. Yeah. And so this would be very hard to put in a list in a good way. So that's very problematic there to design a good neutral attachment that people would play. And if you then go for a 2-point attachment, it gets even harder to make it good enough or interesting enough that somebody would say, okay, I put this into a unit I have, pay the full price. And
that's a good insight. Yeah. All right, so congratulations, Heffa. We decided you will get your own high seneschal promo miniature sent to your door for this honorable mention. And with that, we jump to the third place for the attachment, which is from Persil Spardose.
Yes, Persil Spardose, Lukas on third place here. That's a rather simple attachment, I would say, for 1 point. It brings 1 ability, Trophy Collection. Each time this unit destroys an enemy combat unit with a melee attack, put 1 order token on this card. Each time this unit is performing a melee attack before rolling attack dice, choose 1 for each order token on this card. So that's similar to what's it called in Greyjoys?
The pillage mechanic, or wait,
it's a similar like a pillage, right? You destroy ranks with melee attacks, and then you gain tokens, and then your attacks get better. You can choose Vicious, Thundering. Defender loses all abilities, so that's kind of like Lannister's oppression, right? And unit may reroll any attack dice. It's kind of similar to the Lannister oppression from the castle.
It feels like it. But actually, what I saw when I saw the card first, I saw unit destroys an enemy combat unit. So you need to destroy the full unit. You do not need only to destroy.
Oh, sorry,
you destroy the full unit.
Right? You need a unit. Exactly. And that actually was a problem here as well, that it didn't come higher, because it should have been maybe a rank.
Too situational, right? Yeah, that's what I thought as well. It's too situational. I mean, it happens for sure, but if you need to basically drag around this 1 point miniature the full game, and for some reason you cannot kill anything, you basically have this 1 point attachment for basically nothing. And so there are way other things that bring like instant value for 1 point, while this needs to earn something, right? Yeah.
This on its own is just not enough for a 1 point neutral attachment. But it's nonetheless, we thought it lore-wise, it is interesting to have this because he collects these tatters from his opponents as well and puts them into his rugs. Or the cloak, all the rugs. And so it was interesting lore-wise, and we will see in the end we have something similar on the attachment too.
We got inspired by this trophy collection. Exactly. So for you, it is also a promo miniature of your choice, depending on what's available. But I can tell you this right now, as we speak, we are recording on the, what is it? Today's the 11th?
Something November.
Sorry, the 23rd. So status quo
November,
on the 23rd of November. Every promo miniature that was ever released is available in stock. So for now, you can choose everything. Okay, so jumping to number 2, place 2 for the attachment, we have the JDJ.
Yep. First of all, he made that nice background, which I think is a thing to behold. It's I think it's really nice if people submit stuff and make it a bit nicer for us to look at. And I think that was a really nice idea to have like I think it's the Essos Peninsula or what it's called in the background.
I think so.
So first we see on the back of the card, we have interesting rule here, may attach I can't read that very well.
May attach to a unit of your faction as though he is a part of your faction.
Exactly. And that addresses what I said before, that you have a neutral attachment which has to be very strong if somebody wants to pay the point for it, right? But with this rule, you just can attach it in every faction as a normal faction attachment. And so you can use normal extra attachment points for it, which, it solves the problem, kind of, that it's hard to put him into a list. And so I found that very interesting. And then we have a nice ability here too, Superior Tactics. After an enemy unit performs maneuver, march, or charge, it was, right?
Charge, march or charge. Maneuver, march, or charge.
This unit may perform a 3-inch maneuver. So I think that's similar as what we saw from Heifer, and something that we saw on a lot of other submissions too, that the Tattered Prince is kind of a very great tactician in battle, and he has ways to command his units in different ways, right? And enhance their mobility or their position on the battlefield. And I think that's a very interesting ability as well. And then he gave him motivated by coin on top, which of course it fits, right? It's a mercenary commander, and so it kind of fits that he has something like that. Maybe JDJ, if you would have gotten a little bit more creative here on the second ability. That could have been the first place, maybe even. But
for me, it
still.
For me, when I saw it, that was for me the first because of two aspects. The first one, which is on the back of the card, he basically was a character that pops up, that is not like described really heavily in the books, but he pops up here and there in different factions, timelines. He's everywhere basically. So I feel that he can be attached basically everywhere, and it's easy to attach him. Also the motivated by coin, but also the superior tactics aspect also fuels the idea that he was a highly mobile commander that mostly was on his horse riding into battle and and basically throwing out his tactics, maneuver, like kind of Rob Stark, kind of like mobility wise. So I really like both aspects, that everything from the lore fueled this card. So for me, this was number one. But unfortunately, like democratic as we are, there is another one. But JDJ, congratulations to this one. You can also choose one of the promo miniatures which are available in our stock. So congratulations again. And we will reveal the winner of the attachment, who won the contest on the attachment side. So this is Taisa-san.
Yes, with his iteration. First place, congratulations on that. And he had the Ragged Old Wolf. And here we see melee ability similar to what we saw before on Persil Spardos's attachment, collecting tatters. Each time this unit destroys an enemy rank with a melee attack, now here we have the rank, place one order token on this card. Each time this unit performs a melee attack before rolling attack dice, the defender gains one condition token for each order token on this card. So here we have an ability that is similar to that raiding abilities or pillage abilities we have for Greyjoys or for the Lycian sellswords, for instance, but now placing tokens on the enemy, and we have the rank, and I think that's a better condition to make it worthwhile and to make the ability worth in the end.
Yeah, way more usable. Yeah.
And then I think because Taisa-san, he's a really good player too, and I think he thought about that kind of well, that if you have that 1 point neutral attachment and it only has an offensive ability, then it maybe is not enough to use it, right? And so he added a defensive ability each time enemy is performing an attack on this unit after rolling defense dice, block one. So that's not super powerful, but it adds some defensibility to the unit. And so I think it rounds the attachment quite nicely. And the survivor's instinct is fitting from the lore as well, because as we know, he was made the Prince of Pentos, right? But only so they could take his head. And he refused that. He is a survivor. In that case, and so I think that is kind of fitting too.
Yeah, I think that only also adds up. It doesn't sound like much if you just block +1 hit, but we all know if a card is played with I block 2 more or 1 more or sometimes 3 more, this also adds up in the course of the game. That doesn't seem like much in this one attack, but on the course of the game, and it's always one less. That I like that. I really like the idea. And
it's like a Night's Watch shield attached, right? That can never fall off.
That could, so even better. So, but basically for me or for all of us, what and you will see it in the final version, what really drew the attention was the collecting tatters, right? Collecting rags off of enemies, attaching it to his cloak and riding further and killing stuff. So this collecting tatters aspect made it a whole. The 1 point is good. The survivor instinct is good. So Taisa-san, thank you for your submission. Congratulations to being first place. And you can choose a starter box from A Song of Ice and Fire. And Nachtal will reach out to get this handled or all sorted out with you. So should we jump to the NCU? The NCU.
Yes. Interesting. NCUs are always interesting.
Exactly. That was on point. That was what I wanted to say and bring across. NCUs do so much for the game and can influence the power level of an army or a faction even so much more. So this was really interesting to judge, right? So we chose the Prince of Promises because there are parts in the lore and parts in the books where he joins certain political discussions where everything is not only based on coins and money, why he is basically interested in taking jobs, but also he's making promises to one another. He's getting something like quid pro quo, right? He does stuff like, and he will also
ultimately he wants Pentos back, right? So
exactly. So this is why we chose the Prince of Promises as the NCU version, and we will jump in with the honorable mention by my good friend Ruben. So Ruben, coming in at 5 points. Pentos is mine.
Yeah, and here we see an ability. The Prince of Tatters begins the game with 2 order tokens. Each time this NCU claims a zone, you may spend an order token. If you do, replace that zone's effect with 1 friendly combat unit, performs 1 melee attack action.
Yeah.
So basically, we see like an offensive aspect here and something that gives you an extra action, which we saw in a lot of submissions, and it's kind of a reoccurring theme. Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe for 5 points, I would have said just make him 4.
Yeah.
But
I had the same feeling.
But he said, okay, let's make him cheaper when you play him in the neutral faction. So that's kind of interesting idea, I think, to make the power level fit that because if you have a neutral NCU, it's often kind of hard to balance it, right, for every faction. And so we said, okay, he's cheaper if you play in the neutrals. But in the end, for me, that wasn't really enough for the 5-point NCU, I think. But it is still an interesting ability to like give factions or commanders that don't have that extra attack in the deck or somewhere to give them the ability to do that twice per game.
Yeah, and I also feel like in the neutrals for 4 points, he can really do stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they have the issue commands in hand, but therefore you need an activation. So you have no extra activation, but he can bring in an extra activation, which is especially when you think dervishes, right, can be really great. Swift strike out of it, right?
And you can do it on every zone, right? You obviously need to replace, you need an NCU, but you can do it via every zone, which is interesting too.
Yeah. True. So Ruben, for you, there is a high seneschal going to your doorstep. I know where you live, so you get it. So let's jump. I know where you live. I will get you. So third place for the NCU. We have Guess Who Wins, our mod for the Targaryens. So there needs to be something with mobility. Please tell me. 5 points coming in. The Tattered Prince.
Actually not.
Yeah. What?
Actually not.
I'm leaving.
I mean, he has the. Oh, he's gone. He has controlled chaos as an influence ability, which basically the unit influenced every enemy engaged with that unit suffers -1 to hit. So, which is fitting too, like controlled chaos, right? I think it's a good name as well for an ability like that. You get in there in the chaos of the melee fight, and you kind of control it. And if you add this on top of a disrupt, that could be kind of interesting, right? Every unit engaged -2 to hit. So definitely a good influence ability. And if you have a 5-point NCU, I think he needs something good to make him worthwhile. So and then we have a bit of a more complicated thing. Always emerges on top.
But cool.
And this says,
But cool.
Yeah. This says when your commander is destroyed, you may destroy this NCU. If you do, place the Prince of Tatters, colorful tactician, 1-point neutral attachment, wins if you.
The other one.
If you are wondering, we changed this text a little bit to make it fit a little bit better, but it's basically the thing that you submitted. So exactly, then you may add the colorful tactician 1-point neutral attachment in the first slot of a friendly infantry unit, ignoring attachment restrictions. And this guy is now your commander. So basically, when your commander dies, you can the prince basically he takes the commander position, right? You have to kill an NCU for that. So maybe that's a bit questionable if you really would do that. So the ability is interesting, but it has a little bit of a limited use, I think. I mean,
especially since he's 5 points, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and in game modes where the commander is important, that could be interesting to do, I think. But overall, I think for a 5-point NCU, it's hard to say. I mean, the influence is very good too. I think he oriented himself a little bit on Corrin NCU, which has to be killed too. But I think that's a little bit stronger what Corrin does. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's very interesting ideas here, and but in the end, I think the always emerges on top is just too situational, and yeah, that's why it's only a third place, but it's a good third place.
Yeah, I feel so too. So promo miniature for you. I think it will be something like Alicent maybe, because I think he doesn't have that yet. But let's see. So let's jump to second place. Second place for the NCU goes to Carly Carve, our beloved partner in crime when it comes to great Goonhammer articles. Made a great submission, and I want to start on the top right side. So this is both cards. So she made a huge attempt in explaining why she gave so much lore heavy and great insights why she chose that route for both versions of the Tattered Prince, but we like the 5-point NCU version the most, and that's why we put the Tattered Prince Rapid Tactician from her into second place. So congratulations. Let's jump into Promised Prince of Pentos.
Yeah. And here we have Promised Prince of Pentos. Once per game, at the start of any turn, you may select one zone on the tactics board. Until the end of the round, both you and your opponent count as controlling that zone for all abilities and effects. And yeah, as you already said, Kali, she sent us a whole PDF file with a lot of explanations and background thoughts, how she came to those abilities. And this kind of shows the aspect we already discussed too, that he kind of he plays on every side a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And if he gets something out of a situation, maybe the opponent gets something out of it too. But if you use that in a useful or sensible way, I think it's quite interesting. It's not super strong, I would say, and there are counters to it then maybe again in the game. But it's interesting, especially if you look at the neutral faction, who has some cards where you want to, or some units as well, where you want to have a certain zone. I think that can be interesting ability.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the second ability is an influence ability, the Ragged Raymond, where basically you can attach him to any unit, and then the unit, or to a friendly unit, probably you would attach him, and then it gains Iron Resolve, or it gains Intimidating Presence. And that's again a theme we saw in a lot of submissions, that he, on one hand, boosts the morale of his own troops, because he really doesn't like deserters, right? And can be kind of cruel if you try to run away.
Yeah.
So that will probably lead to more Iron Resolve on the side of his units. And on the other side, he's like a feared opponent. And yeah. So definitely interesting influence ability where you have a choice. I think that is something that I really like, that you can choose between a more defensive and a more offensive aspect here with the influence. Something we will see in our final attachment, or in our final NCU too. Yeah.
Would have been, for 5 points, would it been, in your point of view, too strong to say where he influences, the unit gains both Iron Resolve and Intimidating Presence. Would that be too strong for 5 points, or what?
Probably not. I think the way he is, he could be maybe even 4 points. I mean, he's you can't stack Iron Resolve with another Iron Resolve, right? Only with something else. So I guess it's for 5 points. It's kind of a high cost here for what he does.
Yeah.
But then the problem is just give them both. That's a bit. You have an influence and the unit gains Iron Resolve and Intimidating Presence, right? But yeah, we will see with our NCU in the end how we thought
how we approached it.
To have this versatility and boosting different things, and then we maybe can talk about it a bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think as well but I saw this actually a lot in this contest that often the things were not strong enough, or they were just too strong. There were some attachments that were so strong, but I think that is the problem with that people were thinking about. How can I make this neutral attachment work or the neutral NCU work? And there are sometimes people
that was tough. That was tough. Yeah.
And I think that's where this came from in the end. That it was hard to balance for people. What is maybe too much or what is not enough. Yeah,
exactly. A lot of times we read through the cards and I really loved that. Let's say the first idea was like so fitting and it was like well balanced and rounded, and then I read the second thing and I was like, oh, okay, that puts it out of the ballpark again. So, but all of them individually, and this is basically also the main reason why we chose in the end. We picked the best ones and built out of these, because they were all great, our own version. So but that's the second place for Carly Carve. Promo miniature of your choice to your doorstep. Congratulations. And now we jump to the winner for the first place of the neutrals, which is Hotshot. So Hotshot is well known as one of the great custom builders out there that builds factions, miniatures, attachments, units, or everything. So who's wondering, he won this first place for the NCU, coming in at 5 points. The Prince of Pentos, Lost Prince of Pentos, he called him.
Yeah, and here we see 2 abilities on this 5-point NCU again. And the first is Wrecked Raymond. It's an influence ability, which basically just gives the unit boldness and courage. So boasting, this is a very offensive NCU here, as we will see, right?
Yes.
A little bit of a problem I had with that is that on one hand, you can't really synergize this with units that already maybe have boldness and courage, obviously. So maybe there are other synergies, but and I think it may be problematic with ranged units, right? Because they are strong in the game, and if you have just a boldness influence on ranged units, maybe a bit problematic, but strong influence ability, and I think, as we already said, a 5-point NCU needs something to bring to the table. So the Wrecked Raymond maybe could have been a little bit more creative here with this one, but yeah. And then we have the Wayward commands, and this says when the Tattered Prince claims the swords, that it's
it may perform
unit. I think
it may perform one charge action.
The influenced one performs a charge action using lowest attack die value. So we see like there is a synergy with himself, which makes sense in my mind, that you can boost the lowest attack die value a little bit with the +1. If you are on full ranks, you will gain +1 attack from the boldness, and that's quite interesting. And yeah, it's only a charge, and it's only via swords, so I think that's fine, because just making an extra charge in the game is very strong, especially for maybe commanders or factions that can't do that, right?
Yeah.
And you have the synergy with the boldness, and because our NCU that we have in the end is so similar to what Hotshot made here, and he was maybe our main inspiration, so he came out on first place there.
Yeah. So Hotshot, congratulations! You get a starter box of your choice. We will be in contact soon. So let's reveal the final version for season 6 of The Prince of Tatters by Hits and Crits. We'll start with the attachment, as always. So, the attachment is the Tattered Prince colorful tactician. War is a canvas. I merely add the color. So, the Tattered Prince counts towards attachment points as if it was an attachment of your faction. So, there you see where we drew that from. And we have superior tactician. Changed it a little, and we have collecting tatters, and we changed it a little. So, Thomas, tell us why.
So yeah, basically the things you see on the card in the end is, like we said, we took it from different submissions. I think the idea to just handle him as a normal faction attachment is very good, because you just work around the problem I talked about, that it will be very hard and maybe clunky to insert him in certain lists. And so I think it makes sense. It makes sense lore-wise that he has an ability like that. And so it makes sense to give it to him, so you can just easier use him if you want to. You can just easier get him into your lists. And then for the orders, we had 2 like orders that gave mobility, and we wanted something like that on him as well. And so we made the order Superior Tactician, which is kind of strong. It says start of an enemy turn, 1 friendly infantry unit in long range. So you need no line of sight, and it can be any unit in long range of the Prince of Tatters, may perform a pivot or shift 2. So it's an or, it's not and. So I wanted some very versatile ability that you can use for a lot of different things. And I think it's only a small effect, but it can be used defensively, offensively. It can be used supportive to maybe reclaim an objective that you lost, stuff like that. So it has so many interesting uses. And I think an ability like that for really strong players is very interesting, because they can make the most out of it. And so I think it's just fitting to the character, and the name of the ability in the end is fitting as well to how you have to work with it to make the most out of it. So yeah, that's his order. And then we took the collecting tatters from Taiza-san, and it's basically the same. The only thing we changed here is that we added that if you attach the Prince of Tatters to a neutral unit, then you already have 1 order token on the unit from the beginning of the game. So that is just to make him a bit more interesting, to maybe bring his kind of own retinue in, to bring some swordsman or some other neutral unit where you put him down in, and to just make this unit a little bit stronger. And if you play him in the neutral faction, I think they can use everything they can get, I think.
Yeah, I really, really like this. I feel some might think, shouldn't he be 2 attachment points? But I don't think so. I really don't think so. When we theorized it quite a lot in different factions, units, and also neutrals. I feel he goes well into the season 6 meta with 1 point. I feel this is really good. Even though you can shift in long range someone or yourself, even with that, we know this game is all about movement and positioning. But still, I feel this is good at 1 point. Yeah. So this is the version you will find in the box, which we are creating right now. So yeah, I hope you like it. If you have any like feedback on this final version, anything you want to add, anything you have questions about, put it down in the comments below. And we jump to the the NCU version now.
Yeah.
The NCU version, the Prince of Promises, comes in at 5 points. I am the Tattered Prince, and I will have what was promised. Ragged Raiment is an influence ability. Guide us through it.
As I already said, I mean, we basically took the winner here, the hotshot. We used the same names for the abilities, but we changed it a little bit. So the Ragged Raiment, as I already said, I thought that the Boldness and Courage is a bit too one-dimensional there, as an ability, as an influence. So I wanted something that is more versatile, that you can do interesting things with, and that you can boost different stuff with. So we basically said it's an influence ability, and you can influence a combat unit, and then you can choose. You can gain 1 attack die when performing only melee attacks, because I didn't want to make him like, oh, I will play this with a ranged list, right? This kind of doesn't make sense lore-wise. And maybe is a bit too strong as well. So that's only for melee attacks, the +1 attack die. Then you could give them +1 moral, or you could give them +1 movement. And as we know, movement is kind of strong in the game too. So that is a very versatile influence ability. You can boost offense, you can boost defense, you can boost movement. So basically the 3 things you maybe want to boost in a unit, but you have to decide. And I think it's just an interesting ability, not super complicated, like it's just an easy thing. You buff something. And what we added here as well is that if you attach his influence ability to a neutral unit, then you can choose 2. And I think that makes it very interesting to like think of Source Riders, think of Hedge Knights, something like that. Now you have Hedge Knights with movement 6 and 8 attacks, which is kind of interesting, right? So we kind of he will be better if you bring his own guys in your army, right?
Yeah.
He can like help another unit a little bit, but if he has his own controlled mercenaries where you can attach him, then he will really shine. And I think that opens up some things for list building to make him that way. So that's why we choose to do direct Raymond in this iteration. And then the wayward commands, it's basically the same as we saw from Hotshot. We just changed the zone from the swords to the bags. And the main reason here is, I mean, he's a mercenary in the end, right? And so we thought that the bags just fit better. And if you play mercenary units that often have some stuff with the bag as well going, then it's just more interesting to make that charge via the bag. It gives different opportunities for your opponent, who now still has the swords open, right, to react, but not the bags to heal. So that's a bit different there. And in the end, I think it's a bit more interesting than on the swords. Imagine this in Starks. Now you can charge via the swords and via the bags, one with the tactic card, one with the NCU. It just opens up another level of interaction.
Yeah, my first idea was when I saw it, or when I saw the final version we aligned on in the end when everyone voted, was it also motivates you to leave them in neutral somehow, even in the neutral faction, because their faction deck needs letters and bags, kind of, right? So it also fuels this aspect. So I like that better as swords. Also in this like neutral as a faction hashtag thing, I really like that.
If you want him in like a wind-blown army or something like that, then
he will be way stronger. Yeah, so guys, that's that. This is the NCU version of the Prince of Tatters. Please, any feedback down below. And we, again, for all of you that participated, as promised, you will get your miniature by us with the cards and everything. So as you have seen in the video, when you see the video, we will be one step further, but we are still in the process of finalizing the box. Mainly, the rest is basically done. And as soon as it's out and we printed it, we will box everything and ship it to you. For this, Nachtab will reach out to you for your addresses, so we can fulfill the shipments as soon as we finish the boxes, and when we have your addresses ready by then, it will go out instantly. So
make it a bit easier for me, and please just send me your address if you participated as a DM.
Yes.
But of course, everybody who misses this and doesn't send me his address, I will get to you. Yeah.
That's how it is. So that was the third community contest. I hope you liked it. I hope you really like the miniature, you like the rules, and you like the box and everything. So we really appreciate any feedback, anything you want to share with us. So I think there's nothing more to say. Until we meet again, roll those crits, guys.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.